Please tell us what is your experience in the 1971 May.
In the general elections of 71 in Pakistan, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his party Awami League won the general elections with overwhelming majority. Instead of being asked to form a government, he was arrested on 26th March. At that time, I had barely 5 years of service, and I was an instructor in the commando wing of the infantry school at Mao, which was at that moment in the process of being shifted from Mao to Belgaum. We moved from Mao to Belgaum by train. When we reached Belgaum on 28th April, on the platform itself we were told that 50% of the strength of commando wing has to move to Calcutta. So the very next day we started moving by train to Calcutta. Reached Barrackpur. Having reached Barrackpur, we were grouped into various sectors, and each sector was assigned 2 officers, 3 junior commissioned officers and 6 non-commissioned officers. We were then airlifted from Barrackpur to various sectors around Bangladesh. Sectors were like Dauki, Silchar, Tura, etc. My lot went to Tura, and we were heli-dropped at Tura helipad, which is the capital of Meghalaya. At Tura helipad, we were received by a Nishan civilian vehicle, which, as I learned later on, the refugees had crossed over from Bangladesh, the erstwhile East Pakistan, into India along with that vehicle. And that was being used by our drivers for ferrying refugees and our personnel. We were then driven to the camp, which was located about 10 kilometers south of Tura. The camp was organized basically on a brigade headquarter basis, with the brigade commander heading the setup. There was a lieutenant colonel who was number 2 as also brigade major, B, the commando wing personnel, 2 officers, 3 junior commissioned officers, 6 non-commissioned officers, and other administrative staff. A whole lot of refugees from all walks of life had crossed over to India. We had segregated them into 2 categories. One was those who had handled weapons in some form or the other, either as cadets or as police personnel or ex-army personnel. In any form they had handled weapons, they were segregated and kept separately, and pure civilians were kept separately. Pure civilians were employed on various administrative duties, while these people who had some basic training about arms and ammunition, we started organizing them in various groups. In the various sectors, including my own, the normal routine was early in the morning we would get up, hold a roll call. They will sing Amar Sonar Bangla, their national anthem, followed by a talk, motivational talk either by their leaders, prominent personnel who were amongst them, or by one of us. And then the routine of specialized training for these personnel who had had initial arms training. We would call them Mukti Bahini henceforth. So Mukti Bahini personnel were basically their arms knowledge was refreshed. They were given some training about explosives, how to handle, how to use them. We then started planning their missions into Bangladesh, and missions were either raiding a small police picket or a small army post or destroying a small culvert and things like that. Very small objectives were selected and they were assigned, briefed, and they were launched from our various border outposts. Initially what we saw was that these people were very motivated, but they lacked the guts. Wherever they could reach the objective undetected, they could carry out the task, they did it. Otherwise, one shot fired, they would throw everything and run back. This meant planning their mission all over again, sending a different group which we thought would do better. When that also didn't work out, we started leading their missions up till a certain point, because officially we were not allowed to go cross over into Bangladesh at that point of time. Sometime around 20th May, Pakistanis attacked our border outpost Dalu, which was further south of our camp, because they had got the inkling that we were launching these Mukti Bahini personnel from that post. And some of the good volunteers like Dr. Mahmood, one Mr. Faz Ahmad, one Mr. Afzal, youngsters about 24, 25 years, they were at that time on that Dalu post of our BSF post, and along with our some personnel, they were also killed. The very next day, we came across a gentleman aged around 45, 50. He was a Muslim person, I would say an alien in that area. He was an outsider to that area. And we started questioning him, and he gave us all the details. And they said that there is a party operating around here, and now they are going to meet at a particular place, but he did not specify the place. As also the time, almost whole night we grilled him. At about 3:30 or 4ish, he came up with the place the party was to meet, as also the time. But unfortunately it was too late. By the time we reached, we could see the telltale signs of that group having assembled there, and some cigarette butts and things like that were left over there. But the dedication of those people was also that he held back the information till such time he knew that information now revealed will be of no use to us. When Pakistanis attacked our border outpost, after that, Mrs. Gandhi and the Chief of Army Staff, General Sam Manekshaw, visited all the sectors. They came to our sector also on 22nd May 1971 and asked our views as to what can be achieved. And almost everyone gave us a feedback that Mukti Bahini all by themselves will not be able to achieve the target. They will have to be amalgamated with either army personnel or at least led by army officers, men, JCOs, NCOs. This point was welcomed.
Sir, can you explain what was the nature and the beauty of Bangladesh, that border area, because it's a greeny area? Can you describe when we can add this thing also?
See, the area where my sector was located, that is south of Tura, was basically low hills and slowly melting into plains into Bangladesh. In fact, where Bangladesh started, almost from there the plains started. And it was totally riverine. And most of the rivers or rivulets, they were flowing from north to south. That means while we could move from north downwards, any movement from Silchar side east to west or from Calcutta side west to east was difficult because rivulet or river after river had to be crossed. It was hilly, as I said, on our side, and where then East Pakistan, now Bangladesh started. From there onwards, gradually its slopes turned into plains. As far as Mukti Bahini is concerned, it could be divided into two groups. One were those personnel who had had some sort of a weapon training, police personnel and the likes. Other were what they used to call East Pakistan Rifles, which is akin to our border security force. While East Pakistan Rifle personnel were fully trained, and it was decided to hold operations by the army or even these Mukti Bahini personnel for now, for various other reasons also, like the monsoons had set in. The rivers were going to be in spate, so it was then probably at national level a decision was taken to send the then Foreign Minister Sardar Sawan Singh on a whirlwind tour of the world to build a favourable world opinion. We kept on with our tasks of training these people, planning their missions, sending them across and leading their missions up till a particular point. Around 22 November, by that time Mukti Bahini personnel properly organized into various units, ably supported by Indian Army, were all over Bangladesh. They kept going deeper and deeper, bypassing any stiff opposition to be tackled later. Around 22nd November, 2 planes of Pakistan were shot. We claimed they were flying over Calcutta and they fell into Pakistan. But when they attacked our isolated BSF posts, is that time our armor also went in and we shot 4 of their tanks in Bogra. And that was the first open action we took against Pakistan, and we claimed it to be an offensive defense.
Okay, so I'm just asking you, for the Bangladesh side, this is a hilly area, this is a rain happened. Do you remember any moonlit night when you have?
You see, we at night operated only to the extent that from our camp we would go up till a certain point in vehicles, de-bus from there, then walk up till the border outpost from which the people were to be launched. Go there into that BOP, border outpost, and launch these people to proceed to their targets, and wait there either the whole night for them to get back by early morning, or if it was 2-night operation, then we would get back and go back the next night to receive them when they exfiltrate. We operated on pure dark nights, on moonlit nights, on semi-moonlit nights, and as is the norm in the east, sun rises almost at about 3:30 and sets at about 4:35. In Meghalaya area, that used to be, that is what used to happen.
Okay, sir. What's their reactions? What was the scenario that?
No, it was all calm on our side. There was nothing except you could see some movement of refugees moving inwards, inland. As far as our own civilian population was concerned, it was normal activity going on. There was nothing special happening.
Can you tell us about a refugee camp and the nature of the refugees?
See, the normal civilians of all ages, children, ladies, young girls, old people, young boys. As I said, those youngsters who had some weapon training, we had segregated them into and clubbed them with Mukti Bahini. Other civilians, they were grouped into camp and they were doing normal activities, administrative actions in the camp, their own meals, cleanliness of the area and things like that. As far as Mukti Bahini is concerned, it could be divided into two parts, two groups. One was those people who had had some weapon training, either as police personnel or as cadets in their various auxiliary wing and the like, and others were from personnel from East Pakistan Rifles, which is akin to our border security force. Incidentally, East Pakistan Rifle units, couple of them had crossed over to India in their first line transport, along with their rations, minus officers, only junior commissioned officer, NCOs and men, in their own transport. Both the groups were highly motivated. As far as training and expertise is concerned, obviously the first group of only people, those who had had basic training of weapons, despite our coaching also could not reach a particular standard, and as such they were amalgamated with the East Pakistan Rifles personnel who were better trained. They were also very highly motivated, and once they were led by Indian Army officers, junior commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers, they did achieve very good results. There, as per the assessment, the monsoons had set in, so it was decided that rivers will be in spate after this. The operation should be postponed. As regards fears and anxieties are concerned, well, there was none when I was operating in Bangladesh or from Tura sector. But I was certainly afraid when I was moving with my son from Pune to Delhi and leaving, and when I left him with my parents, my elder brother and my father, as to what will happen, because he was only 10 months, he couldn't even speak. He could walk all right, but he couldn't speak. It is that time when my father told me, "Son, don't worry, leave your worries here. I've been through. You were not even born when I left your 3 sisters and your elder brother, and I was fighting in Abyssinia during Second World War. Everything will be all right." That gave me some sort of confidence to go into battle in the western sector, which after joining the battalion, as I have described elsewhere, we fought the Battle of Jarpal, or what is also known as Battle of Basantar. After that, I was posted back to the commando wing and in turn thereafter to the weapons leg of the young officers wing in Belgaum, from where on 30th November I got my posting forthwith to join my battalion in 3 Grenadiers, which was at that time located near Samba, north of Pathankot. At that time, my wife was admitted in Command Hospital, Pune, for post-burn surgeries. My 10-month-old son was with her. So I drove my car to Pune, left it with a friend of mine, took my son and boarded the train from Pune for Delhi. I was able to contact my elder brother and my father to meet me at the New Delhi railway station, where they met me and took my son and extra baggage that I was carrying. I carried on my journey further towards Pathankot. At Pathankot, I inquired from the movement control officer, who directed me to a set of vehicles with tactical sign W. So I sat in one of those 1-tons and we started moving towards Samba. On third night, I heard some noises and people talking in loud voices saying that Pakistan has attacked our airfield all over the western sector. Well, this was expected because Pakistan knew that Bangladesh is almost on the verge of being lost, so they wanted to strike a front, open a front on the western sector in order to draw Indian forces toward that. En route, we had to halt a couple of times because enemy aircraft came over and they were strafing. On reaching the battalion BH lawn, as we call it, that's the rear where food and every other thing is assembled, I met one Captain D.P. Sharma from my battalion who briefed me about the location and what actions had taken place. Our one corps, which was the strike corps, was all this while being shunted between Pathankot and Samba, and finally had formed in Samba for a launch of operation into Pakistan towards Shakkargarh and Jafarwal. We were 3 grenadiers had been deployed in the FUP, that is the forming a place called before going into attack, where we form up and then from there we launch the attack. Almost every one of us who was a smoker was smoking. But even the second person could not see the light. It was so well camouflaged. And then when we crossed over, there was minefield, there was enemy fire, our own artillery was firing on the enemy position. Enemy was firing towards us, though not specific target, but all over the area. Delta company and Alpha company, my company, we went into phase 2 of the 3 grenade attack, whereas Bravo and Charlie, they went into phase 1. They went and captured Jarpal with stiff opposition. When we advanced, my own company, Alpha company, was fired upon by an MMG. Before they fired, we heard some talk in Hindi. So I assumed it to be my units, Bravo and Charlie company boys, and I said, "Oh, fire mat kholna, hum hai Alpha company 3 grenades." And boom, there was a MMG opening up. Everyone went to the ground. The JCO said, "Sab, एक MMG है, capture कर लेते हैं." I said, "The company को पहले कब्जा करो. Let's get hold of the company." We rounded up the company. Someone was somewhere. Reassembled the company, and then we hit a minefield. Nobody was prepared to go. I had to personally lead. When I had gone a step or two, that's the time when of the JCOs, one of the Jawans who subsequently got commissioned, Gajendra Suroi, he said, "डूब गए, company commander को आगे चला रहे हो," and he started leading. When we went further ahead, we came across probably the same MNG which had opened up at us earlier, and this time Naik Ramkumar with his section crawled up to the bunker from where the fire was coming, captured the people inside. By standing on top of the bunker, he shouted, "Come out or I am going to throw a grenade." 1, 2, 3, total 11 people, that is 1 officer, 1 junior commissioned officer and 9 other ranks came out of that bunker. In this operation, we captured 1 medium machine gun, 1 recoilless gun and 1 jeep, which is till date retained by 3 grenadiers as war trophy. I can show you a photograph of that. It is restored to its original shape when it was captured by 3 grenadiers. Delta Company, on the other hand, also came across heavy MMG fire, and one of our youngster, Second Lieutenant Meherban Singh Negi, he got a burst in his jaw. On the Jarpal front, Major Hushar Singh and Major Chima, both companies fought tooth and nail for every inch of Jarpal. Finally was able to evict the enemy from there and hold on to that position on the entire 16th morning, 16th night, 17th, despite 7 counterattacks that came on that position. Fortunately for us, no counterattacks came on Alpha and Delta, because Alpha, there was open ground right up till Lalyal forest, which was good about 2-3 kilometers to my west, my company's west. Whereas Bravo and Charlie Company, the direction in which they were facing, there was a village Badapen, which was barely 600-700 meters, and the enemy could assemble behind that and attack. The last counterattack they came on Charlie Company and Bravo Company was on the evening of 17th, when their 35 Frontier Force attacked. At 8 p.m., how many people walking wounded walked back or dead were taken by Pakis? Because when we heard some noise, we told them, don't come any near, otherwise we'll open fire. We do not know. But on 18th morning, as I stated earlier, 1 Lieutenant Colonel, the CO of 35 Frontier Force, Colonel Muhammad Akram Raza, 2 company commanders, that is majors, 2 subalterns and 89 other ranks, their dead bodies were handed over by 3 grenadiers, that's my battalion, 2 Pakis, along with a citation for Lieutenant Colonel Muhammad Akram Raza by our commanding officer, based on which he got the Pakistan's 2nd highest gallantry award.
So tell me about that after the 16th December, okay, when war is almost end. So tell us about your stories, because you are in the western sector.
Yeah, as I said, I landed up in western sector also after my stint in the eastern sector. I fought the war in the western sector along with Colonel Hushar Singh Paramveer Chakar, Colonel Sat Chima, Colonel Kartar Dalal, and myself as company commanders, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta company commanders of 3 grenadiers, then commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Ved Prakash AD. We took part in the Battle of Basantar. 3 grenadiers crossed the Basantar river, captured Jarpal village. It was captured by Bravo and Charlie companies in the first phase. Alpha, that's my company, and Delta company in the second phase. We captured Lohal and linked up with Madras regiment, 16 Madras, which was to our right. The enemy reacted vehemently, despite our having inducted 2 armored squadrons, of one of Hudson, one of Pune Horse. Enemy counterattacked right from 16 morning, purely infantry attacks, purely armor attacks, armor coupled with infantry attacks. Total 7 of these attacks were launched by the enemy, wherein Arun Khetrapal's tank was hit and he subsequently was awarded Paramveer Chakra, because before his tank was hit and even after that, he was able to shoot 4 tanks of Pakistanis. Colonel Hushar Singh PVC did excellent job not only during capture of Jaipal but subsequent holding on to his position by repulsing the attacks. On the 17th night, the last attack was done by this 35 Frontier Force, which we learned subsequently. In that, Colonel Hushar Singh was wounded with an MMG in his thigh, but he refused evacuation. Subsequently, Colonel Hushar got a Paramveer Chakra. I too was wounded with a cell splinter, but it wasn't a very serious injury and I also continued there. Finally, the ceasefire was announced on 17th night at 8 p.m. At that point of time, it was quite all on the Western Front. Now, pin drop silence. Nobody dared move for fear that any time a shell may come. Some other night passed, and on 18th morning it was a scene worth seeing. We got up, advanced in assault line till as far as we could go, and on the other side Pakis also assaulted. Aim was to get hold of maximum territory. We are just advancing as if walking on a roadside. They from their side, we from our side. When we came face to face, we met each other as if we were lost brothers. We exchanged coat parkas, compasses. I for one exchanged my Wills filter made in India with their Wills filter made in Pakistan. And our CO, Colonel, later Lieutenant General Ved Prakash Eri, he handed over, along with a citation for the commanding officer of 35 Frontier Force, Colonel Muhammad Akram Raza's body, with 2 major, 2 lieutenant and 89 other ranks body to Pakistan. Based on this citation, he got the 2nd highest gallantry award of Pakistan. Colonel Eri got a Mahavir Chakra, and thereafter it was all quite